Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Luxury Hour with me. I am Mark III. The hour that we spend with me whispering sweet, sweet nothings in your ear while staring at the calm, calm seas of Nita. Ignore the submarine in the foreground. That is war and violence, energy that will not disturb our tranquility today. Either that, or this is a craft review. Yes. Yes, this is a craft review. I better wake up. Hi! Welcome.
Wake the fuck up, Rambot.
I'm surprised you guys let me go on so long.
I was doing my best not to laugh.
I wanted to see where that was going to go.
Me too.
Just getting
So,
practice for our roleplay Dama, no worries. But yeah, welcome to our weekly-ish craft review. I am Mark III, of course. I'm not going to be soothing you with my soft, velvety tones today because we are here to talk warships. Yes. I am joined by Dama, of course.
Yes, we have myself. We have Norwegian Inquisition. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just waiting for you to say hello, and then I was going to introduce everyone. But okay.
Sorry.
No, the moment's passed. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got Mady here. We got Locogular. We have Norwegian Inquisition, and it looks like Chaos is also joined us, but he has his mic muted. So yeah.
Hello.
As always.
Anywho,
Here to observe and make any good ideas of the design, I believe.
Sure, why not? Anyway, this is the Anaconda Class by Honk. It looks like it's primarily just designed to hunt down mercantile craft, from what it looks like in the description here. He recommends that you have like 4 of these in a group, like a wolf pack.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, any craft in FTD technically carries material, so you could class them as mercantile.
I think it's more like Dama was more referring to the maritime hunters, like in the World War.
Yes.
I mean, these things are like 30,500 odd materials to deploy them. So
he specifically says in his description on the Discord that it targets cargo ships. So yeah.
Then that's a really interesting design, and the Briton in Iron must be shaking right now at the thought of another submarine blockade of Britain.
No, that's why we build a bridge across the channel. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll be
I
fine.
thought you guys were working on that vacuum tube that is supposed to run magnetic levitation trains through.
Oh no, that's in California with
Okay, the Hyperloops in California. Gotcha.
I think.
No. We're working on the new, latest, greatest generation of dirigibles.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So for its price, I think it's okay. About 30k materials. He has this little conning tower here. It's got some sensors mounted to it. I'm assuming that this is a decoration here. I'm not seeing a mimic at all. Got the 360 sonar.
That's definitely either a mimic or decoration, and it's a barrel just expanded.
Mm-hmm.
That conning tower looks like it's it's more for show than anything, because honestly, he could have made the entire craft a meter longer and fitted everything that was in the conning tower into it.
That is true. One concern that I do have about the conning tower, the way he has it set up here, I think it would be causing a lot of drag.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it will be slowing down his maximum speed.
He could optimize it just a little bit more, putting slopes there, just to squeeze a bit more speed out of it. It shows here in the V menu here that it only goes like 14 meters a sec. I've been able to get tiny subs like this to go to like 20, but I don't know how much of a priority that is for him.
I think it's the front partial if you take a look, because that doesn't...
Yeah. The medium air gantries, these aerodynamic hatches, actually reduce a lot of drag.
Yes, but in order to do that, he should have moved the center line or any of the middle layers forwards, because that would allow the clearance to kick in.
Then again, on
Yes.
a craft this big, that would also introduce a little bit of weakness into the front that would be there otherwise.
Mhm.
So it's a trade-off.
Well,
Either, well, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say these aerodynamic hatches usually have a lot of armor and health to them.
They do indeed.
Yeah, the aerodynamic hatch has the same armor as heavy armor, so that front is well enough protected, and
Yeah, it's
even the standard gun trees have metal stats.
The aerodynamic hatch gantry has 800 health and 50 armor, so I think it could take a few hits. A very, very simple AI here. I think he's only just got like the one 360 radar here and not really any other detection.
Yes, he's got self-guiding torpedoes, so all it needs is to confirm roughly where the enemy is.
Mhm.
That's all it does, honestly.
He's got a decoy launcher back here.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's just to remove off enemy incoming torpedoes. I think the fuel engine could be optimized a bit to try to get some more efficiency out of it and maybe reduce the fuel consumption.
Actually, I was looking at that and I was going to say, what he has back here actually is a times 4 propeller on the back, so times 6 power use. One thing he could do is actually swap this out with a crank motor and a steam propeller.
I've actually done that, and I've been able to get submarines up to like 32 meters a second, which would be about damn near double what this thing's doing now.
If he did that and streamlined the conning tower a bit more, he could quite easily push this thing past 20, I think.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll also corroborate. There is a lot of benefit in doing that. I had my light cruiser going 20 before adding such a motor, and now she's up to 25.
Yeah, there's a few other things he could be doing to reduce the drag here, like these fins that are on the back of the submarine. I think if you went something more like with the
Wedge blocks?
wedge fronts, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It would reduce a lot of drag for him.
Just installing glass wedges in front of this would probably do everything he needs.
Yeah, same kind of deal with his...
With the stabilization propellers?
Yeah, all the stabilization propellers. I was going to suggest, like, since this thing isn't really geared towards being durable in and of itself, maybe tunneling those back slightly into the armor would fit just fine.
Yeah, that would reduce drag by a whole lot. A lot of people are not aware of this, but having propellers, like sticking out like this, that can cause drag and make your craft less efficient.
Yeah, because they have about the same drag as a solid block, so...
That's why I've got all of mine like superseded into the hull. I used to do that as well.
Technically, if you have them on the front and back, they do have a good aerodynamic profile, but from the sides, this is actually the case, as I was talking about. So, if you really need something, you should do it. One thing I'll also note is that if you're willing to min-max your craft quite a bit, go and take a look into the propeller offset angles.
Yeah,
because
that's a
that
thing
can
too.
speed up your turning rate quite a bit. Especially on craft such as this one, where size is really no issue, so you're not talking about much angular drag. It would probably speed up the turning rate quite a bit.
It looks like he's gone for some rather heavy explosive long-range torpedoes here.
Yeah, I think they're actually slightly over-engineered for what they're intended to do.
I was about to say something along those lines, yeah.
I'll actually note that they're neither TPG nor do they have a signal processor, so these are not really suited for mid and end game stuff.
It should also be noted that these are set for maximum thrust output on the torpedo propeller. He could probably get by with just having it at the default and be perfectly fine. Probably reduce the amount of fins, maybe add more explosive warheads, or just make the overall torpedo smaller to reduce the cost of using it.
Split the fins front and back. Install a ramp-up time on the propeller so it can turn more before it hits full thrust. So,
I was thinking the same, just having the one fin on the front, one on the back, using those 2 extra components to actually install signal processors and that TPG. It would make this thing very effective endgame if you spam them.
The stagger fire add-on, I'd probably change that to like 2 seconds to make sure that the torpedoes didn't blow each other off course when they impacted. What kind of AI setup does he have here? Is it just plain old naval? No, he's got this set up to be a front sighter.
So we'll try to point this thing towards the enemy.
Okay.
Ramp time will still be useful, I think.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's just a circling AI, so it will go around in circles basically like a shark.
Yeah, that's essentially how I like to do mine, and then I'll just put a 1 turn on the torpedoes so they could just go in whatever direction they need to.
Which you do not necessarily need if you're circling at 90 degrees because, well, the actual seeker cone is 120 degrees. It's a little bit of an issue sometimes, but you do not need to.
I also think the AI could probably use just a little bit more protection here, just like a single layer of metal all around it, but I'm almost getting the feeling like he's intended this to be like just a very early game submarine is the kind of vibe I'm getting here.
I can tell you something I would do with this is actually something else I noticed about the front missiles is yes, they have a lot of fuel, but they don't have remote guidance. So that 120 angle on the torpedoes, I don't know if they wind up going past the target, they are not going to circle back around to re-engage. So there's actually way too much fuel in those torpedoes. So what I do is I cut those torpedoes in half, like to 5 meters, and then I'd install a second bank right behind them, pointing probably downwards out of the craft, or maybe out one of the sides. And just like make them smaller, more efficient torpedoes, and have like twice the number, or something like that.
Usually with a lot of my torpedo designs, I can get away with making a really decent one that's about 7 or 8 meters long if I'm going with a medium. So yeah, I agree with you on a lot of what you just said there.
Medium torpedoes, I generally say these, yes, they are over-engineered, but that's a function of the regulator. Unless this thing's circling at 5 kilometers, you will have enough time to actually get to the target within the 40 seconds.
Yeah, but this goes back to the 120 angle. I mean, it'll stop turning if it goes past, won't it?
Yeah, which is why the lack of target prediction is even worse.
Yeah, target predict it doesn't need quite as many fins or fuel. So if I kept torpedoes this long, I would actually pack it with like maybe 50% greater warhead capacity. That's just what I would do. I like things to go boom.
Yeah. I was just trying to see that the AI could probably use like what are they called, the wireless snoopers, just to get a bit of redundancy for his detection.
Could also use with a couple surge protectors around it.
Yeah.
Just to prevent from mild EMP poisoning.
Oh, that's something the craft doesn't have actually. Intra-vehicle transmitter. If it's meant to be
useful too.
Oh, my voice just keeps packing in today. Oh, hang on.
Yes,
right. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
Alright, intra-vehicle transmitter. This thing's meant to be a Wolfpack ship, but it doesn't have any way to share targeting information with any allied ships. So, even if it's just like the detection from a 360 active sonar, which isn't much, it's still better than nothing. And it can still help other weapon systems to get more accurate as well. It may not be the most accurate thing, but it can still help. So I would strongly advise putting a intra-vehicle transmitter into this craft.
The ammo looks like it could probably use a bit more
Protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when that goes up, it'll take the ship and probably rip it in half.
Yeah, maybe make it a bit longer to maintain the amount of ammo, and then put some metal around it instead of having it very short and squat, but extending to the outer hull.
I feel like this craft is meant to probably stay a long way and then just blow the enemy out of existence.
Yeah, it's following the very same cheap, small submarine that uses torpedoes as its main weapon that my lionfish subs use.
And I don't know if you guys noticed the way he's got this decoy set up to launch it. I don't think I've ever seen one done like this before, and it's kind of interesting. He just has it set to fire like a regular weapon.
I mean, that can work. Usually I'd use a
ACB?
ACB and have it get its warnings from a passive sonar.
Actually,
I'm not-
Yeah, I'd rather do that, especially with a submarine this small. You could potentially just have a sensor scrambler and then rely on passive detection or just potentially wireless snooper.
I think the launcher could use at least maybe one ejector too.
Yeah.
Because the only thing he's got this thing pulling it out of the bottom of the sub is a ballast tank. And I know sometimes when I try to launch things like this, they'll actually go inside the ship and bounce around.
there's something else that he's doing to this thing as well.
Oh, what's that?
Which is, I'm sorry to say, Honk, but this decoy launcher is actually barely operational. Because it'll only attack things that are actually underneath the sub. That's the only time it'll fire.
Yes. That was something else I was...
Yeah, the missile controller has that 45-degree angle restriction on it. So...
No, that does not actually work on the hull. The base setting on the hull does actually override that. So it will be operational.
No, it points forward from the launch mechanism, doesn't it?
He has it set to like 45-degree cone too.
That's the default. That's the default setting.
Okay. I thought it was 180 for the default setting.
No, you just
Okay.
go into the queue menu, go into the missile system itself, Dama, and there's something that I need to show. So go into the missile system tab, and you see the opt-in user required accuracy on hull. This means that the missile will fire no matter the angle.
Okay.
Wait, where?
So
If you just have a quick look at, I'm sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. Use required accuracy. It's under missile system in the controller UI.
Local weapon controller?
No. The missile controller itself.
Yeah, required accuracy, 45 degrees.
Click on missile system. It's all the way over on the right side of the top of the UI there.
The check mark that says use required accuracy on hull.
Yes.
Yep.
That's disabled.
Yes, this means it will work in the entire 180-degree angle.
No, you need to enable that for it to take the
No.
setting from the hull.
It sounds like it's potentially something that should probably be scienced a bit.
If you enable it, then the 45-degree restriction holds. But if you have it disabled, it will fire at any target, no matter the angle.
Oh, I see. It's a wording issue. Got it.
Okay.
They great job on the UI, devs.
It's an SQL for just setting up weapon systems quickly, but
It
the
isn't-
wording.
that wording is not clear at all. So.
I don't know if Honk would be willing to try this, but something that I've tested out fairly thoroughly is like putting a kind of a rubber liner on my submarines. This helps to reduce its sonar detection and, being detected by sonar. And also, if you happen to run into anything in the water, like I don't know, the terrain on the seafloor, that's also a good reason to do it. So yeah, just throwing that out there for you. It looks like Ian just spawned us in a little fleet of these guys.
It did say it was meant to be used in packs of 4, so yeah, I just grabbed the other 3.
If he was intending to spam this, though, he could probably build these out of stone and still get relatively the same amount of functionality out of them. They would be just slightly less durable and make them substantially cheaper, I think.
I don't think they'd become substantially cheaper. Most of the cost is in missile anyways, so...
Well, let me see here. A stone block, that's like 2 materials, and a metal block, that's 5.
Yeah.
So he would like save half the cost of his hull if he did that.
One thing he could also do to make it cheaper, but also slightly harder to hit, is make the hull out of rubber, which reduces sonar strength.
I just said that. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say that at the start actually, but I didn't. So yeah. Also, by the way, converting this into stone would save roughly 1,000 materials off the price. I think slightly less, looking at the amount of material spent on armor, which is like 2,500 almost.
So, with the amount of torpedoes he's got, is that something that you guys yourself would feel comfortable with using, or would you done something different?
Usually
9 torpedoes just seems a little much for me. I'd probably go with like maybe 2 to 4.
When I use torpedoes, I usually either use them in either twin, quad, or 6 of them. Yeah, my max is 6. 8 torpedoes or 9 torpedoes is just, unless you're like trying to make it so you shoot 2 torpedoes at one thing, another 2 at another, and then 3 torpedoes at another target. Yeah, usually 4 torpedoes is the maximum amount you will need to sink any target or do significant damage, as to have the next strike just murder it outright.
Or you could do it the Iron Mark III way.
You know what's the Iron Mark III
with small torpedoes?
Yes.
I think 6 would be
Correct me if I'm wrong, but does it have any detection on the bottom? Because from now, it seems like it can't see anything from below, but I don't think that will be a problem.
No, it just has that single 360 on the top.
Yep.
Yeah. That'll be a bad thing if there's something with time
I think
fusion
you
or
could
anything
actually-
hits it.
I think you could actually totally ditch the 360 sonar and go with a the wireless snooper and probably still be just fine.
I'd go with the passive, honestly. And
It would make this thing harder to detect, yeah.
I just go with the passive because not only because of the detection, but also because a passive sonar will mean you detect the torpedoes, and thus you can just throw out the missile whenever it's needed, not whenever, well, the weapon feels like it wants to fire.
Yeah, you'd probably be spamming a bunch of those all over the place, and they wouldn't be. Well, actually, having more seems to be the kind of the new meta for the decoys now, isn't it? I mean, I think that's how they. What a lot of people were saying after they redid the decoys is having more of them is better instead of just having like one big one. Am I correct in saying that?
Not sure, but then again, I'm
Yeah.
a little out of touch with the meta, so.
Okay.
I mean, usually a lot of decoys can work, however, they need to be a lot of significantly large decoys. Because I've noticed that small decoys, like small radar target simulators or sonar target simulators, absolutely useless. Like, even if you blanket an entire, like, depth with sonar target simulators, they do absolutely nothing.
The main thing I think that's in play for that is it depends on the size of the craft and the signature of the craft. Like a massive blanket of small ones, and you've got a big boat firing the decoys. The big boat is going to be a way more obvious target than the small decoy.
Yeah, it's still based on decoy strings, so if you want to spam, I mean, signal processor is a reduce it, so you just need something that will still at 10% be as strong as your ship's signature, and that should be significantly more effective
like
than
an
spamming
easy
100.
50-50?
Yeah, just going enough so that a single one can distract on its own.
So do we want to do a live weapons test here then?
Yeah, that's why we've got 4 of them.
That's what I figured. Okay, so what do we want to spawn and have these things fight?
How about a fleet of a couple of Steel Strider transport ships?
Do you happen to remember what they're called?
Hold on, I can find out.
I know what the one for the Onyx Watch is. Like, there's a mule, and then there's like the Conestoga.
Well, we can just spawn the Onyx Watch ones.
I would also note that this thing's probably not going to be very effective against
the Sacrilego.
any sort of flyer. So you have the Nurse Shark as one of the cargo craft for the Steel Striders, and that will be an issue.
The Sacrilego is what the Steel Strider transport ship is.
Okay. I'll get those in then.
It's called the what now, Kagi?
The Sacrilego.
Okay.
It's an easy ship, so you can...
Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah. Okay.
I spawned them in a few kilometers away, which is, I feel, probably close range compared to what Honk was probably doing with these submarines. I feel like this thing is meant to be like 3 to 5 kilometers away and then just annihilate. With the size of the missiles.
We're just pooping at the.
There we go, the swarm of torpedoes.
Maybe you could actually do with a little bit more delay, given the size of the
like
volley.
a 2-second delay.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
It would make them a bit more effective against multiple targets.
Though, that is a pretty impressive hull that just got made on this.
Yeah.
And what the hell's back? Okay, that's just material storage.
Yeah, the missiles are blowing each other off course a bit.
But they do seem like they are not struggling at all to catch the craft. Though he does have the thrust for the torpedoes completely maxed out.
Yeah.
Could really do with some target prediction, I think, but slow boats like these, they aren't having any trouble really.
So yeah, it seems like he's got this gear to be mostly a fairly cheap commerce raider is what I'm getting out of this.
If only commerce raiding were a more common thing.
Yeah, its main use in actual campaign or battle is, I think, just 3 to 5 kilometers, snipe with those torpedoes.
Torpedo spam.
Yeah, put them in the water and then watch the volley fly.
Personally, I'm more a fan of using aircraft for this kind of role, but yeah.
Yeah, I usually use aircraft for destroying commerce or industry. Because
taking at the material gatherers, like a flight of aircraft probably is more than enough to handle something like that, depending on whose it is.
Ironically enough,
go ahead.
Ironically enough, if you built a missile or APN bomber, you can wipe out the entirety of the Deepwater Guard, or at least wipe out very big chunks of it, and the Onyx Watch, because the Onyx Watch have basically no anti-air.
If they do, it's extremely weak.
These things count as aircraft, by the way.
Say what?
It looks like Honk didn't realise that because he started building above the water, they're defaulted to being aircraft. So.
Yeah, that seems to be about the default on every craft I've built here lately. That they defaulted to aircraft.
That was not the main thing I noticed, though. The interesting thing I noticed is that these guys, the AI could do with some tweaking. The missile system may be set up for long-range missile volleys to just shell the hell out of defenseless civilian ships, but the AI is not. The submarine's close to 500 meters. There's no point in doing that with the torpedoes they are fitted with.
I guess it's safe to consider these ships AI dead.
Yeah, they're all dead, it looks like.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like if the torpedoes, if the submarine's doing this, I would say fit it with shorter range, more powerful swarms of torpedoes. That like engage at maybe a kilometer or so instead of like 3 to 5, or change the AI so the submarines don't actually get this close.
I think he also needs to seriously increase the speed of those, because I just looked at the V menu for these Sacrolegos and they go like 33 meters a second.
Yeah, they are fast boats.
I think the main thing is that the Sacrolegos didn't really know what to do because they were struggling to detect the submarines.
Well, yeah, they're not designed to fight against submarines. But
do we have a competent anti-sub vessel we can spawn in?
I mean, you could put it against my William Wallace.
Fair point.
Or my Anaconda light cruiser if you want.
Dama, would you mind deleting all enemy ships, please?
Not at all.
Thank you.
I'd say spawning in just something with boatload of torpedoes would probably be the best thing.
Maybe a black current just for shits and grins.
I have no idea what that is.
The biggest, baddest submarine in the whole game.
How much does it cost?
Stupid amounts.
Number, please.
Do it.
Before you spawn it in, give me a number, please.
It's well over a million materials.
Ooh,
Maybe I could find something a little more equivalent.
The black current would probably make the game desync.
Maybe a Panther yeah, those are like 45k. I just like spun in 2 Panthers, that should work.
how much for the Panthers?
About 45k.
Well,
These are rubber submarines, if I remember right.
Panthers are in fact rubber submarines. And there goes a Panther. The Panthers have been murdered.
Not bad.
There were a couple of glancing hits on the Anacondas, but not enough to actually do
How many
damage.
Anacondas do we have in there right now?
I spawned in 2 more, thinking you were going to
I could spawn in more of these things.
I thought you were going to spawn in something bigger, so I was just increasing
No, I was trying
the
to find
total
something
number.
that was about roughly the same cost, and it was a Panther, so that's why I went with it.
We have roughly 180k in terms of these guys at the moment. Only one of these submarines actually got damaged.
How about a Remora? That's about 177k.
Okay, and what range are you going to spawn at?
2,000 meters.
Fine with me.
Okay. Because rarely, if ever, in this game do you like spawn on top of things. So.
Also, I would suggest jumping off the submarine that we're riding on.
Yeah.
Because I think we drew some fire towards it, and that's why this one in particular got damaged.
Okay. So here we go with the torpedo spam.
Yep.
So your average game of World of Warships.
This is an interesting looking submarine. It almost like makes me think of it as like a whale.
One of the Anacondas actually got knocked out, but they do have beams to repair each other.
Mm-hmm. And
dead.
It's very dead. So I think it was meant to be a boomer sub because it's got an awful. Well, no, maybe those are decoys. I don't know.
Those are decoys, in fact. It's got a super cavitating gun and a couple VLS tubes. But yeah.
Okay. Well, do we have any other points that we would like to touch on for these Anaconda submarines?
No, I'm not thinking of anything because I think there's nothing much to comment on, like appearance-wise. We've already commented about hull shape, so.
Yeah. Are you talking about like the fin, the huge cross?
Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
That you can crucify a whale on.
One thing he could do to get rid of the side-mounted, the turning props, is to use rudders on that rear fin he's got there.
I think the reason why he didn't do that, though, was because he had these set up with a point at AI.
Yeah, with a point at AI and reverse, rudders would be either semi-effective or they'd outright be harmful.
I see.
Because rudders, you need to be moving in a given direction for them to work properly. Otherwise, they flip their forces around and cause lots of problems.
Or he could use ducts to hide them.
Actually, yeah, he makes a very good point. I've been using ducts to hide and protect my propellers as well. So
maybe make the craft 2 meters longer. Then you can install all the propellers inside and just have armored ducts over them.
Or he could like place the propellers one block in and use decorations or mimics to like make it look like there's a duct there without impeding on the missiles. Or
I did suggest that as well.
So basically what I'm getting from everyone here is that it's a capable design, but it still could use a little bit of optimization as far excuse me, as far as drag reduction and possible like a very simple rework of the torpedoes themselves.
It's
exactly.
Cheap and cheerful. Just needs some refinement.
But overall, it's a decent design. I mean, it does basically what it set out to do, but I just would want it to be a bit faster than what he's got it.
And
Anyone else have any thoughts that they want to share on this before we wrap things up?
Well, I've just killed them all, and I've caps locked the last one, so you'll find that on the surface. Just let you know if you want to get your in-game camera on it. There we go.
Okay. Alright, so would anyone like to do the outro then?
He could need some more AI protection or something.
Yeah, we brought that up a bit earlier, but thank you.
Yeah, I think we're kind of done, so someone needs to do an outro that matched my intro. Who's up to the challenge?
I'll go ahead and do it.
Can you do the outro upside down?
Not while it's caps locked. We'd need a dock for that.
So anyway, this has been Dama.Gate2 with I am Mark 3, Norwegian Inquisition, Matey, and Lacog. There we got Chaos kind of lurking around in the background, but he didn't really say too much. So anyway, I hope y'all have yourselves a hell of a day, and keep your hammer high. Later.